Welcome back to Now or Never. It's Cavino and Rich.
And our buddy Clinton Yates got to catch up with pro skateboarder Paul Rodriguez, and here's how it went down. Take a look.
What's up, kiddos? Clinton Yates here with ESPN. We are in Hollywood at the Nike skate park. We're here with one, of course, Paul Rodriguez. P-Rod, what's up, dude?
What up?
You
How
good?
are you?
It is very good to see you. So,
thank you.
You are a veteran, obviously, of the skateboarding competition circuit between X Games, between Street League. Many people consider you one of the greats. What do you think about a sport that has started in places like this, moving to the Olympics 2020 in Tokyo? It's got to be a little interesting.
That's the exact word I was going to say, interesting. You know, growing up skateboarding and being a skater, honestly, the Olympics was never anything on my radar, never a dream or goal. And for most skateboarders, I don't think most of us ever thought about it going to that level or whatnot until the recent years. But the fact that it's here, it's pretty interesting. I don't know how it's going to play out, what it's going to do for skateboarding. It could be good, could be bad. I don't know. So, like, I'm just sitting on the sideline, just going to observe. I'm definitely going to watch and be rooting for Team USA, that's for sure.
Olympics aside, the way that the competition circuit has evolved is wild these days. There are so many different things. We talked about X Games and Street League earlier. What do you think about that, just as a person who skated for your entire life and has finally seen this all come to fruition? Where are we at in terms of what the competition circuit really is in 2019?
That's a good question, man. It's hard to say. I mean, it's obviously more competitive than it's ever been. Skateboarding is one of those things where, like, it progresses drastically in short periods of time, whereas, like, I don't know, maybe like basketball, maybe like certain stats or, you know, certain records are broken, but some guys hold records for decades, you know, 10, 20 years of the highest scoring or whatever, you know, these stats. But in skateboarding, it's like from one year to the next, the difficulty of maneuvers being done is like jumps so quickly. So I'm just mind-boggled watching these kids today and what they're able to do under the gun in a pressure situation, the technicality of the tricks and the danger level of the tricks. It's crazy. So I think it's in a really competitive spot. And now with the Olympics, I think it's just making everybody more laser focused and kind of chomping at the bit.
When you first came on with Nike, you were their first signature SB guy. I mean, at the time, just explain to people what that era was like, and you know, what did you think about going with Nike as a brand who was not otherwise known for skating?
So for me, it was being a skateboarder. You know, there is the whole stigma of like selling out, not selling out. But I always dreamt big. I always was a big dreamer. You know, I was fortunate. My father, you know, lived his dream in, you know, film and television. He's a stand-up comedian and all that. And I always saw somebody living their dream to the fullest level. So as a kid, my perspective was always like, I want to live my dream. So when I came into skateboarding, I already had that mindset. Once you learn the world of skateboarding, it's a little guarded, a little bit like, you know, keep everyone out. This is our thing. So I kind of was like in the mix of that. But when Nike approached, I was really into it. I knew there would be mixed reactions from the skateboarding world, but I was super into it because, you know, my first pair of shoes were little baby Jordans. It was just a brand that my whole life growing up, I always wanted the new sneakers that came out, especially when school started. You wanted the fresh Nikes for school. So it was always something that was a part of my life. So to me, it just felt awesome. And Michael Jordan was a huge hero of mine as a kid growing up. You know, anybody grew up in our era, you know, grew up on Michael Jordan, whether you played ball or not. Like, he was somebody you just... So I was really excited about it, and I can't believe I'm still here doing it.
You partnered with Nike in a lot of different ways, particularly in trying to bring skating to city communities, inner city communities. Why is that important to you as something to do in terms of spreading the culture and teaching what it is you've learned?
I think because skateboarding is one of those sports that has a very low level of entry, right? It's not an expensive activity. It doesn't take a specific, you know, court or field to play or to do. Just take some decent concrete and you can do it by yourself. You have some friends. It's a really easy access and it's tons of fun. It definitely kept me out of lots of trouble as a kid growing up. You know, like, I was more excited to go skating than to go, you know, egging houses or TPing houses or do worse things, you know, that I've seen people do. But it was just always something that I loved so much that making trouble actually wasn't even on my radar. It didn't even dawn on me. So I think that's a big plus for kids these days, because if you don't have a passion or something, what do they say? Idle hands, it's the devil's playground. So that type of thing. If you don't really have something you're in love with, you might be drawn, try drugs or go, just make trouble. But on top of that, just give more options to people, like more options. Some people aren't necessarily meant for the school route, the academic route, and not everybody was going to be a doctor or a lawyer or whatever. So just something. I think kids just need to be given a wide variety of options, because I think there's something for everybody. And so this brought me a lot of joy, and I figured, why not see who else out there would fall in love with it.
All right, last thing we're going to do, your Mount Rushmore of Nike case. Let's go through them. If you got a couple secrets, some Easter eggs you want to reveal, that's fine too.
Yeah.
Well, holla at me. Let's go through. There's four. There's four
Okay.
people on Mount Rushmore.
Okay.
In case y'all don't know that. You've now been taught.
So just roughly, off the
Okay.
top of my head, I would say I grew up in the white-on-white Air Force One kind of craze era. So
Uptowns, as they're known to some people, on another coast.
Yeah, exactly.
Those
But
are
over
fly.
here, so I'm going to throw those in there because that has a lot of nostalgia for me.
Okay, the Air Force Ones.
I'm going to say Jordan 3s I like a lot.
Threes. You see a lot of the threes on the streets these days.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm
Yes,
saying? Those are very
Yeah.
popular
Yeah.
restock, yeah.
What else? Cortez. Being Hispanic,
Right.
being in LA, having grown up, the Cortez was always a staple. You always wanted to keep a pair of Cortezes.
Let's review before we get to number 4. Air Force Ones, Jordan 3s, Cortezes,
Yeah. And then
the reveal.
just for me personally, because it's a big chapter in my life, I would say these are the P-Rod 1s, because for me, being a kid from out here, growing up skating, and now have a signature shoe with Nike SB, the one that set it off my whole career, for me, that's special and big.
Lesson learned here, if you have a shoe named after you, make it number 1 on your list. P-Rod, thank you, brother.
Thank you, bro.
Appreciate
Appreciate
it.
it. No doubt.